The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of DigiAll. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to DigiAll Tech News. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. China's industrial profits surged in March, driven by AI and chip demand, even as rising oil prices threaten new pressure on manufacturers. US lawmakers are warning that AI is making government surveillance far easier by accelerating analysis of communications, location data, and behavioral records. A top medical journal is warning that medical AI is being adopted and marketed faster than its benefits are being clearly proven. Indigenous leaders say AI can support environmental stewardship while also repeating older patterns of extraction involving land, water, minerals, and data. A 64-day experiment with an always-on autonomous agent highlights both the practical upside of persistent AI assistance and the trust gap that still surrounds them. CNBC reports that China's industrial profits rose 15.8% year-over-year in March, while first quarter profits were up 15.5%, the fastest start to a year since 2017, aside from the pandemic rebound. Officials said the gains were led by equipment and high-tech manufacturing, with especially strong growth in optical fiber, optoelectronics, display devices, and drone makers. The tension is that this AI and semiconductor boom is landing just as higher oil prices, and sanctions tied to Iranian crude threaten to squeeze factory margins again. NBC News says the concern centers on Section 702 of Pfizer and on commercially available data bought from brokers, because AI can now sift through communications, locations, travel patterns, purchases, and associations at enormous scale. Lawmakers and advocates point to previous searches involving Black Lives Matter protesters, political donors, elected officials, and a state judge who complained about police abuse. Representatives such as Thomas Massie and Jamie Raskin, along with Senator Ron Wyden, are now pushing new limits on warrantless searches and data purchases. Futurism highlights a Nature Medicine editorial arguing that evidence medical AI creates real value for patients. Providers or health systems remain scarce, even as claims of clinical impact keep spreading. The same report points to studies where large language model tools hallucinate findings, accept fake diseases planted by researchers, and miss correct diagnoses more than 80% of the time when symptoms are ambiguous. In healthcare, that gap between persuasive output and trustworthy evidence is not a branding problem, it is a safety problem. Truthout describes how Indigenous communities are using AI for forest monitoring, fishing predictions, drought forecasting, and faster interpretation of deforestation signals, with examples from Brazil, Nunavut, Chad, and the Sami regions. At the same time, the article warns that data centers consume water, energy, and minerals that are often extracted from Indigenous lands, bringing pollution, displacement, and new forms of data appropriation. The core demand from leaders in the piece is simple. If AI touches Indigenous lands and knowledge, it must operate with free, prior, and informed consent, and with community control over data. Stark Insider follows 64 days with Multi, a persistent agent built on OpenClaw, running in Docker, communicating mainly through Telegram, and connected to a memory system called Cortex. The piece says Multi can take initiative, set reminders, connect ideas across research, and even narrate internal issues when something goes wrong. But it also makes a sharper point about accountability. An AI agent can simulate ownership while still lacking the real stakes that human users carry when a task fails. Today's 5 stories show AI moving well beyond novelty. It is lifting industrial output, expanding state surveillance, testing the boundaries of medical trust, intensifying conflicts over land and resources, and entering everyday life as a persistent companion. The bigger question now is not whether these systems can do more, but whether the rules, evidence, and accountability around them can keep pace. Thank you for staying informed with DigiAll Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.